The 1980s was the most colourful decade of my time watching football. It was a period when TV screens and newspapers were dominated by players with big personalities, big egos, even bigger hair, and with scant respect for tradition.
And how many did you poison?
A time personified by a unique character named Mark Jackson.
Jacko, to you?
I'm a bit toey about this encounter, Mark, given our history.
Well, our history's long and, a lot of blokes forget about people that do the wrong thing, and you're one of those blokes that I've never forgotten.
Why? Do you want to share with me why?
Well, you're a pollutant. You're a pollutant? Yeah, you're a pollutant. You're a toilet-trained AFL jerk media journalist. That's all you are. You're a pubic hair. That's all you are. Mike, let me tell you, explain. Anybody, after their father dies, after a tribunal hearing, right, and then blames you for bringing on the stress, do you reckon you'd have a nice word about any of these journalists? You wouldn't.
Did I say that?
Well, listen, amongst other things, there was other things said, and yeah.
OK, let's talk about that. You've raised it. Your father died on the night you got suspended for... Was it 8 weeks? Yeah.
For the Lee Matthews incident.
Yeah.
Okay. Lee Matthews incident. He's the one that got charged by the police for assault, for breaking the bloke's jaw. He's the one that went to court and dogged me and said it was my fault. Well, listen, I wouldn't do that to somebody, right? Hang on. And since then, right, he's gone on to coach four AFL grand finals, which I never played. Premierships, winning, whatever, right? At the end of the day, what did the AFL actually hand down as a result of doing that? The only player ever at that level to hit somebody and get charged for assault on the ground.
This is about you, Mark, not about Lee Matthews.
No. It's about an issue that happened in the 80s, right?
Yeah. 1985.
Which reflects on me badly.
But
right?
you whacked 3 blokes that day.
Doesn't matter who I whacked, they were all looking at me. It doesn't matter.
No.
It's irrelevant.
You don't blame Lee Matthews for what you did.
I don't blame any of the blokes I hit. Well, they all had it coming. It was Hawthorn.
You introduced Lee to this discussion. You were rubbed out for 8 weeks because you smacked Chris Langford twice, Gary Ayres and Chris Mew.
Yeah.
Well, what's that got to do with Lee Matthews?
Yeah, because they were Hawthorn, mate. Look at the colours. Please. They're the most boring team in the league. And without the umpires helping the 80s, they wouldn't have gone anywhere. Right? They got everything. I went 8 weeks without a free kick in the 80s, playing in front, holding up packs with Gary Ablett standing all over me head. Please, at the end of the day, they take sets on people, they take sets on players, and they've got their favourites. Before the AFL, the company game took over, which you set up through the media because, you're one of those toilet-trained AFL media people. Is this job is this job your payoff from the job you did, by poisoning everybody out of the game, the Carmens, the Kings, and writing filth about blokes that affected everybody's families? Come on, Mike, grow up.
Are you talking about me, the journalist, are you?
I'm talking about you and your group. That was all in together. You're a company man. You're a company man of the VFL and you're a company man of the AFL.
And you're talking about bagging the media. Now, you exploited the media to fill your pockets.
Because you were stupid. That's because you were stupid. Hey, listen, I never got paid for playing football. Yet I was one of the biggest...
Of course you got paid.
I never got paid at all.
You paid for nothing.
Never got paid. Yeah, played for nothing. I'll tell you, my highest paid year was at Geelong, where I was getting paid $12,200. I got fined $18,300 that year.
That's your fault.
It's not my fault, mate.
It's not your fault.
Who's dragging them through the gates? Give me some of the squareheads. Give me some of the big names that were pulling people through the gates in. Nobody. They've taken the volatility and the unpredictability out of football.
Well, that's
right.
Okay.
Hang on. They've taken They've taken those two things, right? The unpredictability and the volatility out of the ticket price, right? You've got all these players on big cash that'll sign on, but you'll have a frontal lobotomy, you'll have no personality, and you won't give anything to the crowd. So, apart from growing big muscles and being able to run fast.
So
right?
This is coming
Speed and confusion.
This is coming... Listen,
Speed and confusion.
Turn. My turn.
You haven't got a turn.
This is
my show today.
This is coming from a bloke who says he never watches football.
Never watch footy.
Well, how do you know what's happening?
People tell me, because listen, unbeknownst to you, I do 70... fundraisers for clubs around Australia, right?
You do it for nothing.
Hey, listen to me. You asked me, you tipped it, let me finish, right? 70, right? And if you think the show's going well, do yourself a favour, you're 70 years old, right? pray that you get to 71, jump in my car, I'll drive you around Australia to some of these places, right?
Where would I end up?
Probably in Cooper Pedy down a hole, but that's another story, right? At the end of the day, right, you come and have a look how good football's going in the suburban and the country areas. It's going terrible.
I know that.
Do you know that?
I don't run the game, Mark.
I did a fundraiser for Gympie Cats north of Brisbane, right? The AFL is wondering why the game's going terrible up there. I live up there, right? They said, will you come up and do a thing on a Thursday night, come out, talk to the players? I said, I'd love to. I said, what's the AFL doing? Oh, they give us nothing. We're north of Brisbane. All the resources going into Brisbane, doing nothing. Blokes, people volunteering their time, cooking a barbecue to help the footballers grow the game north of Brisbane. They're not doing anything. You got clubs folding in Broken Hill. Look, it's
I'm
unbelievable.
not here to talk
story.
to you about that. I want to know why a bloke who averaged 3.7 goals a game
and that's a cheat
in 82 games didn't reach 100, didn't play for more than 6 seasons, and had to do it at 4 clubs.
Because how many games did you play, Mike?
Oh, good one.
No. How many games did you play?
Is that relevant?
I want use them. Don't put my answers back on your list. I'm asking, did you ever play? Did you ever play at that level?
Well, you know.
Well, you would have known how hard it was to kick a goal at that level, right? At the end of the day.
I am conceding that you had the ability and the capacity to kick
What,
goals.
you think that just...
Why didn't you last, and why didn't you last
Listen,
more
it's not about... You're asking 3 questions in one. Let me tell you, I put a lot of hard work into my goal kicking. Accuracy is not a God-given talent. It's something that you take 200-300 shots every training night, every day of the week, to improve every area of your goal kicking. Learning how to cut the ball in and out of the wind. Hang on. Teaching greats like Tony Lockett when I was at St Kilda. Putting time into those blokes and teaching them how to kick it straight. Kick it against the wind, how to cut left and right, just like a swing bowler. How many steps to take off, like a fast bowler knows, and comes within a fraction of an inch of that crease, right? It's the same with goal kicking. And when I see these punks, these false alarmers, playing in these, they take a mark 40 metres out, turn their back on the goal. It's just insulting to the blokes like the Dunstals and the Locketts and the Ablets. It's just
Jacksons.
insulting. Okay. And myself, with an average of 3.7 goals a game in terrible sides.
Let me ask you again. If a bloke's capable of kicking 3.7 goals a game... Now, before I let me ask the question. These are the averages for a couple of other blokes we know. Buddy's averaging 3.2. Tommy Hawkins, 2.02. Tex Walker, 2.3.
They're false alarmers.
You've averaged much better...
They're false alarmers.
...than all those.
No, but they're false alarmers.
Well, how come 4 clubs gave you the flick?
Well, let me tell you why 4 clubs gave me the flick, right? I was at Richmond. I would never have left Richmond, right? I started off at South Fremantle. I played a year there. There was a bloke in my position. He had a bad training accident. And
did you cause that?
Yeah, I did, but it was in my position. He was out for the season, right? I'm sorry, but that's the way I was taught at Richmond, right?
To take out the bloke in your position?
Of course. You train how you play. That's what they said. And if Graham Richmond confronted any of the junior kids, didn't play by those rules, you get the bullet straight away. Bad luck. That's how I was taught, right? I come back to Richmond. Tony Jewell wouldn't let me train within 100 metres of Michael Roach. They keep me in it as an emergency after kicking a record in the reserves, right? Going into that grand final.
1980.
Yeah, right? Then they turfed me off to Melbourne under Ron Barassi, super coach.
So
couldn't coach pigs to be dirty, and I'm not the only one to say this. I did a fundraiser at Tugan Surf Lifesaving Club with one of the greats of rugby league coaching. He was there, he was doing a talk, I won't mention his name. He said, I did a coaching clinic with Barassi, and my thoughts were exactly the same as yours. So it's not just me.
That's sacrilege, mate. You're attacking an
No,
icon
you're a Melbourne
of the game.
supporter. Melbourne supporter.
Listen, no, I'm not.
Listen, Melbourne, listen, put your tie on and your jacket and go along to the footy. They've got no guts. They'll never do any good because they've got no guts.
We're
right?
talking about Ron.
No guts.
You've attacked Ron Barassi.
Listen, I don't care. This is my opinion, right?
Yeah.
This is my opinion. I'm allowed to say what I like. This is my opinion. I'm not asking everybody to agree with you. I'm not asking you to agree with me just because you're a demon through and through.
Let's put Ron Barassi. If this bloke, in your terms, couldn't coach a pig to be dirty.
Not in mine. The best coach I've ever experienced.
Mark, can I speak?
I don't like the way you. I just don't like you, Mike.
Well, I gathered that. You kicked 76 goals in each of your 2 years at Melbourne.
Yeah.
in a bad team? Well, either you're a very good player or Brassey's a very good coach.
Well, yeah, how good a coach was he when he was on a multi-million team to turn that club around, right? Healy and I put on 150 goals in the bottom side,
Yep.
right? And then he pisses me off, tells me to POQ, and then buys his hack from the Western Bulldogs who's had his knee shot out 3 times and wouldn't get a kick in a gang fight. I can't believe it. The Bulldogs were a middle tier side. We're at the bottom. But why would you break up a 150 goal partnership?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you do
fair.
it?
But I want to go. Can I go back to the original
In a bottom
question?
side.
Why did you leave 4 clubs on bad terms?
Look, I couldn't give a shit. I went on 60 Minutes and I said I was a football mercenary, right? I went...
But you left because they told
Listen,
you to go.
they treated us like cattle, right? They treated us... Once you're gone, you blokes got hold and finished us off. We're all in the wilderness. It wasn't going to happen to me, mate. I was born on a building site. My father was a trade union leader. I've been through it all, mate. The good, the bad, and I could play you blokes on a break. And that's exactly what I did. With you blokes in the media, the Herald Sun would ring up for a stinking story. The Age would ring up for a stinking story. The Melbourne Truth would ring up and I'd tell you it's all lies. And that's all you deserve.
Are you proud of that, are you?
I'm proud of it because it got me where I wanted to go.
Did you have a hit list in your locker?
Yeah,
at
I
St
did.
Kilda?
You were on it.
Yeah? You had a dozen people on it, didn't you?
Oh, I had quite a few on it, yeah.
What was written next to my name?
You tell me.
You said, I hope he dies of cancer.
Oh, well, I hope you did. I honestly, at that day, I really have got no respect for you. I couldn't give a shit. I hope you got cancer of the finger, so you couldn't write another poison interview like you did, which had an effect on all their families.
What was the poisonous interview?
Oh, there's heaps of them, mate.
No, you've got
too
to be
many, mate.
specific.
20 years. You bring me in, right? You put me on the spot to give you What do you think? I save your rotten, filthy articles? Listen, mate. At the end of the day, you pull me out of the darkness for 20 years, where you banished me, you and your cronies, for 20 years after building the foundation or being part of building the foundation of what is a great game, Australian rules football, but not the company game, AFL.
What you built it, did you?
Australian rules football.
You helped.
Helped.
Did you?
Helped. I played at the highest level. I helped.
This is you played in 82 games.
Yep.
No finals.
Yep. Taking suspensions.
And you played in 22 wins.
Yep.
And you got rubbed out every other week.
Yeah.
And you built the foundation of this game.
I helped build because I played at that level. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I played at that level. I was part of it. You never. Where were you?
I didn't profess to play at that level.
Where'd you play? Under 19s in some dirty, rotten grease up the pole at one of these media organisations, and then you sit there, you've got the gall to come and question me about my career and the blood and guts and the hours I put in at training. You're kidding me, are you?
Well, so you're not entitled to be an observer if you've watched... I've watched more games than you've ever
Observer.
seen.
As long as you don't get personal in your interviews. Good and bad,
Did I get
no
personal?
problem. Yeah, you did. You did, many times.
Why don't you explain yourself? If you're making these accusations, why don't you explain yourself?
Listen, I don't have to explain myself.
No,
No, I don't have to, because I'm not in this position talking to you like this, right? Because I don't like you, right? You asked me to come in and do the interview. I said, all right, well, I'll come in on my terms as long as I get to say my piece, right? And then it's all over. You go your way, I go my way. But at the end of the day, the footy public, which is full of punks on computers and those rotten Xboxes and whatever they are, right? They're the blokes that are taken over, right? Now, if you can tell me Australian rules football is in good shape, right? And you reckon it's going to go on because they've got expansion problems, right? Where do they go from here? I mean, at the end of the day, where do they go?
This is a story about you.
Yeah, I know, but I'm part of this game. I love this game.
Do you?
I did, mate. I did love
that's
this game.
past tense.
I filled the socks up when we couldn't afford a footy. I got my first plastic footy off Norm Gallagher, right? So don't tell me I didn't love the game. I love the game, but I played the richness of the game, not the company game.
Are you disappointed, though, that you don't or can't go back to any of the clubs that you played at?
Why?
Why?
For them to apologise to me.
Apologise for what?
Well, I made him a lot of money. I made him a lot of money, Mike. Made him a lot of money. I increased memberships in every club I went to. Listen, I did the right thing. And not only that, I did the right thing by the blokes I liked. Like Maurice Rioli, when he was playing he was coaching Waratahs in Darwin and he was running for politics. He said, Jacko, will you come up and play a few games? I said, no worries, Maurice. I was up there in a shot, right? At the end of the day, I do the right thing by good people.
Did you ever punch
Tommy
up?
Hafey,
Did you ever punch up with
fantastic
Maurice
bloke.
Rioli?
Yeah, I did.
Well,
so what? So what?
And you actually...
You weren't there. You don't know what happened.
No,
right?
I just said, did you have a punch-up?
You don't know what happened. I got set up by his cousin Benny Vagana, who I was living with, another Aboriginal boy in Johnson Court, Cockroach Haven, right, in Fremantle, next to Miss Tattoo Australia. Next door, I had to borrow the iron once in, it was frightening. Anyway, but Benny said to me, have a crack at Morris, and I didn't know he was a Golden Glove. But it was a big mistake, yeah.
And did Morris tip you on your bum, didn't he?
What, mate? No. You win and lose. You don't win in every fight you're in.
And you've had plenty.
Plenty.
What about the night that you
if you're going to fight, you've got to expect to get hit.
Okay.
And I always expected to get hit.
Now, tell me whether this is true or not. Probables are playing possibles at Melbourne. Robert Flower happens to be in your vicinity.
Yeah.
And you decked him, is that right?
Yeah, I knocked him out. Yeah, why? What's the problem?
Robert Flower.
Robbie Flower, yeah. What's the problem? Am I supposed to give you a heartfelt rendition of Danny Boy because I knocked out the captain of the Melbourne Football Club? Big deal. Brassy super coach in his wisdom played Robbie Flower at fullback on me. Are you kidding? What an insult. That is an absolute insult to me personally. And then, now, hang on, let me finish. He had every right to sack me on the spot. Did he sack me? No. He sent me to two psychologists, right? Lee Saxon, who's passed away, God bless his soul, and Dr. Rudy Webster. They both interviewed me many times. Rudy turned white on one occasion.
I shouldn't laugh at that. I didn't mean to laugh at that.
Rudy would laugh at it, right? So what's your problem? Are they pressures?
So even your teammates in that practice match turned on you.
Who cares?
So
who
the
cares?
entire Melbourne
The
list.
bottom side, they're all playing for themselves anyway. Who cares if they don't like you? I was a scavenger. I could kick a ball. I only needed 4 opportunities a day. I'd kick 4 goals. I knew where I was. Every moment of every game, I knew where I was. And that's it. And I played for the people, put a smile on their face, jumped up, did handstands, spin the ball on my finger. Hey, listen. Theatrics, they're never going to see football entertainment like that ever again. Ever again because of these robots, these drones that are running around, false alarm and capitalising on the foundation players like the Carmens, the Kinks, the Mewers, the Kappas, myself, built, right? Built. Kept the game alive.
Mark, were you playing, the day you did the donkey kick, were you playing on Calvin Moore?
Yes.
Did Calvin Moore say to you, quote, you'll never be a footballer as long as your ass points to the ground?
No.
He didn't say that?
No. Actually, I was telling Glenn James where to go with my legs.
What does that mean? Glenn James is the umpire?
Work it out.
Looking for Jackson from behind. Phillips is there. Jacko with a chance. Who pops it through?
Like a bullet for Jackson, he fires. Well done, Jackson.
Jackson and Austin one out. Jacko. Yes!
Go, Jacko! He's done it.
5 goals to Mark Jackson.
He is a one-man show down there. What a character.
The Melbourne time intrigues me. 2 years there, everything looked to be going perfectly. It was your first time you got a crack at it at AFL level. You kicked 5 goals in your last game at Melbourne, 31 in your last 6, and you're gone. Were you dirty that Healy won the goal kicking that year?
Yeah,
Jared Healy?
wanted to punch him in the face after the game. I'll never forget it.
He kicked 8.
No, well, he kicked one more than me that game. One.
No, he didn't. He kicked 8.
No,
You
he kicked one
5.
more than me. Listen, he had a bad groin. I told him where to run. It was Richmond teachings that only told you to, once you crash a pack, get your fist to the ball, be able to direct the footy into the running position of a small player. It was one of the basic paragraphs on how Richmond played. Healy could pick it up, ran to position. I must have given him 30, 40 goals that year. It was sickening. He was sickening. How many I gave him that year? Out of the opportunities we actually got because we're on the bottom and we were getting that crap kicked out.
So he kicked 77,
and
you
I kicked 76,
and you were never seen again in red and blue.
That's right.
Was that relevant?
Well, I was going to go into the rooms and punch his face in, but
because he beat you in the goal
greatest
kicking.
footballer of all time, or one of them, Brent Croswell, said, Jacko, don't do it. Next minute, I'm at St Kilda. My dad didn't want me to go to St Kilda. And I tried to get out of there as quick as I could.
Well, you got out quick enough. You lasted 10 rounds.
Yeah, won the goal kicking though that year. Only played 10 games.
So,
only played 10 games.
I
Average.
understand that.
What are you saying? I was
not-
insulting down there. I did my job.
It's not funny. You've kicked You've kicked 41 goals
Yeah.
in 10 games at St
Yeah,
Kilda.
in a bad side.
And Tony
second bottom side.
And Tony Jewell.
Second bottom side.
Tony Jewell and Ian Stewart call you and say, we're sacking you.
Well, they had 20 points, right? And when Trevor Barker was following me around like the Gestapo, marking down every rude thing, putting a hole in me manners every now and then, and they had a list of 20 things. I was out the door, couldn't wait to get out of the joint, to tell you the truth.
Really?
The most self-destructive club I've ever seen in my life.
I think, this is my memory of this, that the young Tony Lockett was playing alongside you in a forward pocket.
Who?
Plugger.
Plugger was playing, he was sporadic, but he was playing mainly in the reserves. Yeah, go on.
He played alongside you. You kept telling him to pee off.
No, I didn't. He knew what he was doing. Who's filling you full of crap? So you've got no idea about how things... When little players play against a power forward, right, back then, when the game was the game, right, you'd crash the packs. If you couldn't mark it, you had to bring the ball down in the direction of a small player.
Yep.
Now, the small players in the pockets, whether it be a ruck rover, a rover, or a permanent forward pocket, would horseshoe, take their player out and come under the crashing of
The pack.
the pack.
Yep.
Where if you couldn't mark it, you'd flick it, just a little flick with the ball. These blokes today, no idea. Just a little flick. The little bloke runs onto it, kicks a goal like Jerry Healy. Like Healy picked up 30, 40 goals, right, doing it. Just beep, bang.
Healy was a star, mate. Healy was a star.
Let's talk about something relevant, mate.
Well, on the St Kilda situation,
let's talk, yeah.
they at St Kilda believed that you were inhibiting the development of Lockett because of you.
No, listen, I've got no problem with that. Let me go. I want to get out of there. I wanted to get out of there. Lockett didn't stay there. Don't build this yay St Kilda's fantastic.
I'm not.
No, please. You know, right? Because in your drunken stupor in all these pubs around Melbourne during your heyday, you would have heard it. You would have heard the same thing, right? You would have heard
drunken stupor.
You would have heard the same thing said. They are a self-destructive club.
I agree with that assessment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the best thing Lockett ever did was go to Sydney on a short ground, one-on-one, one kick out of the centre, power forward, elbow in the face or the throat, spleen splitter, cartilage cruncher, rib snapper. It's all over for your opposition player. One-hander, one mark on a lead. You got him. You got him cold. And that's what he did, and he kicked the AFL record.
Okay.
Now, if you compared, just to prove my goal-kicking interest and... experience.
Expertise, yeah.
Right. Would I say Lockett, Dunstall? Well, Dunstall kicked most of his goals on the big grounds in Victoria. Tony, who I love to death, because he's just wiped the AFL like myself. One kick out of the centre, tailor-made for a big, strong full forward, right? With aggression. Okay. Anything else won't cut it.
I want to go back to where we've been. Your record at Melbourne was outstanding for 2 years. You go to St Kilda, you're 10 weeks into your second club at senior level, and they call you in and say, we don't want you.
Good luck. Goodbye. Thank you.
So you didn't care?
I couldn't give a shit. I was a mercenary.
Your pride wasn't...
No. Listen to me. You're getting it all wrong. This holding hands and dancing around like, everybody's together and rah, rah, rah. This is not what it's like. This is not what it was like, mate. I'm sorry. You've got a bad, warped idea about what happened back then. You've got a really warped idea how football was played back then on an individual level. It was every man for himself, and that's the way you go into it. You play to your code, which is your team, but anything else is open slather, and that's what it was.
You said you were a mercenary, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes ago, you told me that you got no money out of football.
Didn't get any money out of footy.
What are you doing being a mercenary then? You're a pretty poor mercenary.
Yeah, I was. Very bad.
So you go to Geelong at the end of after St Kilda.
We could go into an hour-long length story.
But I'm intrigued by your career.
Yeah.
No, I am.
Well, you finished it, you'd know.
I finished it.
Yeah. You're one of the poison pens, the long sock poison pens that finished it. Yeah,
so I messed up.
You're a disgrace, Mike. You're a disgrace.
So I messed up.
You've got no idea how many footballers I talk to going around that have got no respect for what you did in football. You might get all the media awards in the world for being toilet trained by what you were, but you've got no respect. No respect. And blokes won't come up honestly and talk to you, but you know, in the green room, I tell you exactly what I feel. I'm telling you the truth. I don't like you, right?
No, I can live
and
with
I'm
that.
just telling you what blokes think.
No, so that's why we've had.
Why did Des Tottenham, a legend of the game, want to punch you in the face?
Why have 150 blokes sat there if they've got no respect for the bloke they're talking to?
Who?
150 of the biggest names in the game.
You haven't got all the biggest names in the game
No,
yet.
but I've got plenty. There's been
Yeah,
plenty
right.
who've been happy.
Listen, I admit you've got plenty. You've got a great show, and good on you. And you're getting a paycheck from Fox Footy, another toilet-trained part of the AFL. Great. I feel good for you. You know what I do? I work for a living. That's what I do. I'm not a sycophant.
Hey, mate,
I'm not a sycophant of one particular area of life. Life's a big place. It's full of big hills and downhills and uphills. I work with a variety of different people.
Let me tell you this. This is no picnic for me.
Isn't it?
No. Geelong? What happened there?
What happened there?
Yeah.
What, you really want to know what happened there?
I'll tell you, in your last year at Geelong, you've kicked 8 goals in 2 games, and John Devine says on your bike.
John Devine would have been better off coaching the Bible studies in Tasmania and staying there at the end of the day. No idea. Absolutely no idea.
So none of your coaches had any idea except Tommy Hafey.
Mel Brown, Donny Davenport. You wouldn't know who Donny Davenport is. Only he's the greatest skill coach of junior footballers, best teacher of footballers of all time. And where is he?
Well,
He should be in the game.
He played at Richmond and he coached
Under
at Scots
19,
College.
yeah, exactly right.
So I
One
don't
of
know
the
who he is.
greatest exponents of teaching the skills of the game. And I swear to God, I know nothing, take me as rubbish, but take me for one thing, right? Any of these AFL clubs, they'd be doing themselves a favour to grab someone like Donny Davenport and teaching these kids the skills of the game.
I still want to know why you've got such a negative opinion about the current game when you never see it.
Well, I'll tell you why, right? Because do you want to hear it, or are you going to argue? All right, you asked me the question. You're going to let me answer. All right. Now this is what I think, right? I think there's generations of kids that are missing out, right? Because it's turned into an athletic game. These guys that are playing, these false alarmers and imposters, right, should be charged with fraud, right? Because they're not playing the game in the true essence of Australian rules football. Australian rules football rules should be nationally trusted. It should be taken out of the AFL hands, and if they want to change a rule in the game, they have to go to the National Trust to change it. That's one. Secondly, I'll tell you why. Because the generations of kids and the mums and dads that are playing in all these local country areas that are taking their kids thinking they're going to have an equal shot at playing league footy, at AFL footy, right, or Australian rules footy, right, they haven't. It's not an equal playing field. Yet these mums and dads, every morning, Sunday morning, Saturday morning, in the pouring rain, the frost, and they take their kids down thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to happen. It's not going to happen unless you can do a stand and jump of 3 feet, you can run even time, you can do your BIP test. It's crap. Those generations should be in the Olympics, taxpayers' sport. Get rid of these blokes and put footballers. Greg Williams. We would never see another Greg Williams. Gary Ablett, too much trouble. We'll never see another Gary Ablett. Mark Jacko Jackson, the list goes on.
So tell me this, Mark. Have you ever seen teams play football better than Hawthorn, the Bulldogs?
What do you mean? Half of them can't kick on both sides of their... They've got a boomerang kick from the goal. With the 15 yards out, they've got a boomerang kick. They cheat. They're cheats. They're imposters.
You don't think
they are imposters. Please, Mike, if you're going to talk Australian rules football, talk about the old blokes that actually built the game and played in the full season. The mid-'80s, when they started turning the rules. When I got railroaded out of the game because of you, right, in the mid to late 80s, that's when the game changed. When the 12 officiating presidents agreed this. I said on the way out, I said, the game's got 10 years, that's it. Well, it happened in 2 or 3. The 12 original presidents signed the naming rights without going to the members for the naming rights to form the AFL Commission. Do you think that was right?
Yep, I do.
Oh, well, I know. And a lot of people think it was wrong because it should have gone to the members as a vote, right? You writing the poison pen, oh, these clubs are going broke. Fitzroy, Sydney, they own 1/12 of Waverley, right? They own 1/12 of multi-million-dollar real estate at the worst. Why couldn't they have lent money to stay in Melbourne?
After the break, Let's see if there's any chance you can say something nice about me.
If you're lucky someday you might see me on the street. My crystal clear complexion is as no white as a sheet. Some say I'm a genius, to others I'm a loon. But someday there'll be people like me walking on the moon. I'm an individual, you can't fool me.
I reckon Berry Brothers Circus need a new clown, maybe he can get the job.
A genuine original, you can't fool me. I keep an open mind 'cause I'm thinking all the time.
Let me ask you a couple of fact or fiction. Did you put a lighted cigarette in Lindsay Fox's pocket?
Yeah?
You did.
Yeah, funny too it was.
I wouldn't have thought Lindsay would have thought
No,
it
he
was all that
didn't.
funny.
Never forgave me.
He didn't.
No.
Did he forgive you though? Did you not write a letter to him when he lost one of his kids?
Yes, I did.
And he was moved by that?
I don't know if he was moved or not.
Did
but
he not contact you?
I wrote that from the heart, yeah.
Yeah. See, the people who are on your side say that this is all bravado and that deep down there's some substance there and you care. But you wouldn't want us to think that, would you?
Sorry?
You wouldn't want us to think that this perception that this...
You asked me to come in here and speak truthfully. I don't have to get a value opinion from you on what you think. We're talking to the people out there, right? Let's take you out of it, right? I'm telling you and answering you these questions honestly, not for you, right? Because I don't like you. Have I
You've
mentioned
said that. You've
yet?
said that
Yeah,
100 times.
I'm talking to the people out there in television land, right? So they know the truth, what happened. Okay?
Okay. What about the toilet roll story with Foxy? Is that true?
Yep.
So you put a toilet roll in his...
No, bit of toilet paper that was
Yeah.
stuck to me boot, yeah, and
Right.
lit it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny.
He wouldn't have been all that happy with that,
No,
would
he
he?
wasn't very, very, very disappointed.
Why
I've
didn't
seen
he-
Lindsay quite a few times
Why didn't he
since.
sack you?
Hey?
Why didn't he sack
Well, I
you?
don't think it was him that sacked me because my uncles, when he was just starting off, Fox, Carton Coke out of Moorabbin, right? They were working from driving trucks and stuff. So there was a bit of a family
It was
history down in St
Okay,
Kilda.
okay.
Yeah.
What about, these are fact or fiction, right? I'm not saying they're true or not. Did you put a brick behind a brake pedal in Trevor Barker's car?
Yeah.
You did.
What do you want me to say? What do you mean? I got the sack over that was one of the points. Okay.
Are you proud of that?
What do you mean?
Well, would you have done it again? Your time over
Can
again?
I tell? Do you want to hear the circumstances around
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to tell you because it's a waste of time. Let's move on.
Did you, and you were fastidious with your practice, I understand that. Did you go out early at
Can
training?
you understand fastidious?
Fastidious,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Fastidious?
Surely this is not true. You used to get the bag of balls and go out and practice your goal kicking and kick them to a mate in the street?
Yeah, your brother. What's wrong with that, mate?
And he'd
I
take
was
them,
paying, yeah.
he'd take them and sell them at the market.
Yeah. What's wrong with that, mate? I was paying for a pittance stand there. Please. Money wasn't the issue. I already had a hit record, number one, right? Number one for 6 weeks, right? From footy, all right, you writing stories, gave me the opportunity. But I had the knackers to do it, right? It didn't win me any friends. Wasn't expecting to win any friends. Wasn't expected to play for 40, 50,000. Wasn't expected to get walked over by country blokes walking in over suburban blokes. Wasn't expected to get big money in front of these big interstate blokes that would come and rape the VFL and then go back to their home states. And then when you're travelling around promoting your record, you read the paper and this bloke's bagging the shit out of the Victorian Football League, right? I mean, it was sickening. It was absolutely sickening, right?
When you do these sporties, Mark...
It wasn't about money for me.
You don't get paid when you do the sporties?
I get paid, yeah.
How much do you get?
None of your business. How much do you get paid?
Not much.
Well, I get not much
you were
either.
going around with... Chopper Reid was one of your...
Sorry?
Chopper Reid was one of your colleagues?
Listen, we're not going into that because you haven't got the experience, you haven't got the mental capacity to handle a conversation, so let's move right on, Mike. You've got no friggin' idea.
Actually, this is probably a silly question. Why on earth would you have come in here to talk to me when you've got such a low opinion of me?
You asked me.
Yeah, but some other bozo in the street that asked you that you had no respect for.
Don't start crying, Mike.
I'm not
Don't you-
crying.
Mike's got a tear, ladies and gentlemen. Mike has got a tear.
Hey, I'm a big boy. I've had plenty of arguments with blokes
no,
before,
you
mate.
haven't, Mike. Not like this.
What's your proudest achievement directly on the footy field or related to football?
Well, look, my toughest footballer ever was a guy named Ray Price. Played for Parramatta, right? The only football autograph I've ever asked for, right? and Ray gave it to me. I did a show up there promoting. Second one was getting asked by Jack Hamilton to be the ambassador for Australian rules football through North America, right? Whether Jack offered to send them all the superstars, but they specifically asked for me. I wonder why, right? I get over there and tell lies to every editor, chief editor in every newspaper throughout North America and get Australian rules football on the front page, right? It gets moved from 2:30 in the morning on TSN, the Total Sports Network, to a reasonable time of 8 o'clock on 8:30 on a Sunday night, right? I did a lot. I did my share for the game, right? The game gave me a bit, but I gave a lot back, right? Stuff that you don't know about, you obviously haven't done your research about, right? So that's where it lies.
Do you feel good? You happy that you've bashed the shit out of me for 40 minutes?
Well, look, I'm only reflecting.
No, but are you?
Well, listen, can I answer?
Yeah.
I'm only reflecting the public opinion of past Australian rules footballers, right?
What, those blokes who sit there every other week? Hey, the genuine elite.
Ask them genuinely. Ask them genuinely what they think about you. Ask them a specific question, and I'll guarantee you they will say, "I dislike this bloke," or "I hate your guts." Like I'm saying you now. Right now, I'm saying you are the most disliked journalist, toilet-trained journalist from the AFL that has ever sucked up a breath from God.
And I'll just leave you with one fact about that. I was the chief football writer of the biggest selling paper in the country for 20 years.
Yeah, because you told lies.
Now, none of this has been personal, but let me go into that area. Are you married?
Yep, married second time round. How many times have you been married? 4?
Have you got any kids?
You got 2?
Yeah.
3. Sorry, 3.
How do you get on with them?
Very good. Absolute slice.
Will they be proud of you today?
I think so, yeah. Because this is irrelevant. They live in Sydney, and that's it. What do you do? What do you want me to say?
Well, doesn't matter.
There should be more people like me that actually harden up. Righto, come on, what's the next question?
I think we're done, mate.
No, what about the other question you were going to ask me?
I'm afraid of the answer.
Please, I've got a constructive answer for you.
Do you respect the women that we have in football?
I respect...
In journos, goal umpires, women on the commission?
Well, I respect women, but I don't think they should be inseminated at the top level of Australian rules football.
I knew I wouldn't like this answer.
I don't think they should be inseminated on a ladies and gentlemen card. I think they should earn the right. There's been plenty of leagues right around Australia that have been in football since its inception that deserve a better right to be at that top level because they've been in it so long. Now, I'll put something to you.
Okay.
I'll put something to you. What if one of these league teams and a girl gets really badly hurt out there, right? And the AFL, right? Where does that leave the AFL? Where will that insurances and everything and what will that do to the game?
Why is that a concern of yours?
I'm just saying, what does it do? Public opinion sells everything now. That is a concern. Public opinion. We don't all listen to you. Listen, we're going to let sleeping dogs lie now, right? I'm going to go out of this interview because I wanted to get something off my chest. You obviously rang me to do the interview because you wanted to get something off your chest. We're going to let sleeping dogs lie. You're 70 years old. You haven't got long, right?
Not yet,
No. Well, you're nearly 70 years old. You haven't got long. You might as well die happy, right? But at the end of the day, I've got nothing against you, right? From this day forward.
Okay. I can't say it's been a pleasure. It's been interesting, but I can't say it's a pleasure, but we've done it. So let's do what blokes do.